This is why you need rest rather than motivation. So a few years ago, after I've overcame the hump of not having enough leads, not having a great business and all this other stuff, I was able to actually build a really profitable business, one that had a lot of leads, actually so many leads that I actually had to find referrals, right? I had to refer out my leads. I had to increase my prices because I got really good at the copywriting phase. And what ended up happening was that I actually started to get burnt out. I actually started to work so many hours, seeing so many clients that I actually got so burnt out that I really didn't like being a therapist. I was actually dreading getting on my calls and doing the work and all this other stuff. Now, that didn't show up in my work ethic, but what it would do is it would show up after I got done with my sessions or before I got done with my sessions, because I was just such in a down and a bad place because, again, I was burnt out and I was tired. So I remember one day I was in church and my pastor said, "Hey, we have this 8-week mental health course that we're giving to all of you guys and that they would love for us to show up." So I was like, man, what perfect timing, right? I'm feeling burnt out, feeling like I'm drained. What better thing to do to actually go to a workshop that's focused on your mental health? So I decided to go, and throughout the weeks of going, it felt really good just to be on the other side of things, where instead of I'm doing all the listening, I'm actually now doing all the speaking. And it felt good to be able just to give and pour out instead of just receiving and taking everything that people are giving me, if you will. And what happened after that was actually surprising. So after the 8 weeks, I actually started to feel really more energized. I started to feel really good about myself, right? From an energy standpoint, physical standpoint, mental standpoint, things like that. And that's when it hit me. Because here's the thing, a lot of us would think when we're feeling down, we're feeling burnt out, that we just need motivation. And this actually wasn't what I needed, because I was very motivated because I love what I do. And you see this a lot, especially when it comes to whether it's rappers, athletes, it could be businessmen, it could be whoever, to be honest. When you find something that you love, you find yourself going into overdrive quite often because of the passion piece. And that's exactly where I was. And what I realized was that I didn't need motivation. I just simply needed rest. And that's the difference between rest and motivation. People that are very motivated, very rarely do they need more motivation. They actually may need rest because they're just going at it so hard. And here's the thing too, when you take that rest, you're gonna come back and you're gonna be clicking on all cylinders. And I want you guys to think about why rest is so important. So have you ever noticed whenever someone goes through a really bad injury, it could be a near-death experience like, a car accident, being shot, or having a real bad illness. It could be a brain illness, cancer or whatever the illness is. Have you ever noticed that to help them recover, the doctors typically put them in a what? They put them in a coma. And a coma is where you're sleeping, you're resting, right? It's almost like you're in this state of just not being all the way there. And they do that because when the body is sleeping, the brain actually releases a lot of chemicals that actually goes and repairs a lot of the damages that has been done to the body. This is why when athletes, after a football game, basketball game, what do they typically do? They hop in the ice bath and they're told, hey, you need to get a lot of rest the next day, right? This is the things that naturally heals the body. So when someone is feeling like, whether stuck, feeling burnt out, feeling like they just don't have that energy, the last thing they need is probably a motivational speech. And I'm guessing that's probably the last thing that you need as well. You don't really need a motivational speech because you're already motivated. You know what you need to do. And you probably have a coach, a plan, and everything that you need to be successful. And now we just need that rest piece, okay? And that's the biggest difference, because there's a lot of myths behind what people need when they're not able to take that next step, when they're not able to take action. They think, okay, I just need to listen to another video. Or, okay, I just don't want it bad enough. No, you want it. It's just that now you need something else, and that thing is rest. So my challenge for you is to actually notice how much rest you're getting each day, really. So according to science and all this other stuff, right, I'm not going to bore you with the statistics. They say that you should be getting anywhere from 6 to 8 hours of rest, all right? 6 to 8 hours of rest. Now, I've run into a few clients who may have certain sleep conditions, if you will. So sleep apnea is one of them. So if you have a mask, I need you to actually start wearing that mask. Even though I know it can be uncomfortable at first, I need you to actually wear that mask. Now, also, If you're someone that finds themselves overthinking at night, right? Thinking about the next day, thinking about all the things that you didn't complete the day before. What I need you to do is I need you to practice mindfulness before you go to bed. And one of the best mindfulness techniques to use is actually the body scan. So if you have an iPhone, what you can literally do right now is go to your music app and just type in body scan meditation, and it'll give you the meditation that you need to actually implement that technique. And it's the same thing if you're on Android, you could go to Spotify and do the same thing. All right. So start to implement rest, meditation, mindfulness, anything like that to help you to get a better night's sleep, including, again, using whatever machines that you may need based on your conditions. But then also don't forget to get out. And I really mean that in a literal way, because when you're getting out and about, what happens is that your internal clock, it will reset. This is called your circadian rhythm. Okay, so naturally your body needs to know that when it's 9 p.m., 10 p.m., right, 11 p.m., that it's time to actually start winding down. And again, like, this is where your body will just naturally start to release these chemicals. That's why people take things that have melatonin in it, because naturally when your body's getting sleepy, getting tired, it will release melatonin to actually make you fall asleep. So that's the biggest difference that I've seen between rest and motivation. Motivation, it definitely has its purpose, right? Because you can have people that are well rested because they're not doing anything. This is typically people that are, whether it's, I'm sorry to say this, lazy, depressed, overwhelmed, anxious. Did I say lazy? Lazy, like all these things, right? Like, they're not taking any action. So they're well rested and ready to go, but their mind is just tricking them and thinking, we're not ready yet, right? We can't go out because we're gonna get hurt. There's danger waiting for us if we take this next step. So as a result, those people need motivation, but that's probably not what you need. What you need right now is rest. Once you get that, man, you'll be back to all systems go. So guys, this is Coach Wells, and I got one question for you. Why aren't you subscribed to this podcast, right? There's a button right below. Subscribe to it so that every time I drop a podcast like this, you'll be able to get that information. And the purpose of this podcast is to really give you guys quick, bite-sized wins that you can take with you today to help make tomorrow a little bit more easier for you to dominate. So with that being said, take care, be safe, and I'll see you later.